Hi everyone, welcome to another try on application and review slash first impressions. This time for LA Girl, which is a company that is available for purchase through Ulta. I will, as always, put a link in the description box below to where you can find these items to buy them if you are interested. These are super affordable products and there are a lot of new face products. Some of them not as new. I purchased a few ones that have been on the market for a little while just to complete the whole face and keep consistent within the brand. But a lot of these are new and a lot of them are impressive. One thing I do want to say is that the new lipstick products, there's a whole shade range of them, and I'm going to do a dedicated separate video to swatch all of those colors and to show you how they look applied to the lips, because I want to be able to show you in live applications how they apply, how creamy or smooth they are or aren't, what the colors look like, and since there are so many of them, I'm just going to go ahead and do that in a separate video. So if you're interested in the lip products in particular, please make sure you go check that video out too to see all of the colors. And also, as always, links to the blog sale and to Ebates where you can get some cash back on any purchase that you make through Ulta or Sephora, as always, are in the description box too. I hope that you are subscribed to the channel, and without further ado, let's look at how these new LA Girl makeup products apply. All right, we'll start with foundation. This is the LA Girl Pro Matte High Definition Longwear Matte Foundation. I don't know what's going on with Ulta's website lately. There are some things that I purchased just a week or two ago and I'm having a hard time finding them on the website now. You can find the illuminating version of this foundation really easily, but the Pro Matte version is a little harder to find now. I don't know why that is, but I have the shade Beige, which I was able to pull up by directly searching for it on the LA Girls brand section. But hopefully you'll be able to find this. Obviously, because I have oily to combination skin, I want to use the matte version. I'm going to apply it using this Juno Co. micro fiber sponge. Wow, this has really good coverage. And it seems to be a pretty good color match also. I am NC20 in MAC, yellow undertones, and a little deeper in the summer. Juno Co. is a company that I first came across a couple months ago. If you look, I think in December's What's New in Beauty video, I talk about a lot of their products. Super affordable brand that I find really, really interesting. Alright, so there's the foundation applied. It does have good coverage and it sets really matte. It has, I would say, medium to full coverage depending on how much you build it up, and that sponge applied it very smoothly, so I like the finish on this one. And that foundation retails for $8.99. Next I'm going to go in with some contour and highlight. These are cream contours and highlighters. These are retailing for $2.99 each. I have it in the light duo. For the highlighting points, I'm going to go in just a little bit on the forehead, down the center of the nose, maybe over here. Maybe I'll even conceal under the eyes and see how this works for that purpose. It seems to be a decent brightening shade. So with an angled buffing brush, I'll buff that out, and then it needs a little more warmth underneath the eyes, so I'm gonna just pat it in with my finger. That's almost a little too brightening underneath the eyes. Maybe it'll just take me a little bit of time to get used to it. I do know that the Pro Conceal concealer from LA Girls is really popular. I didn't purchase it just because I know it's been around for a while. There's lots of reviews on it. So I'm going to finish up concealing and we'll come back to contouring with this duo that I just showed you. Alright, using that same angled brush, wiping it off, I'm going to go into the contouring shade there, just on the edge of that angled brush. And then going to sculpt in the hollows. This shade is actually not that gray based. It is pretty warm toned. So I don't think it's actually the best for true contouring. But it's what we have, so that's what we're gonna use. The formula is on the thicker side, so I'm having to use more pressure than I would prefer ideally to buff this out. I guess my other suggestion would be to work on one section of the face at a time instead of doing what I just did, which is to apply it to both sides and then buffing, because that gives it more time to set. Makes it harder to buff out. But for $3, I mean, that's kind of hard to, unless it's terrible, it's kind of hard to be too critical. It does warm up the face nicely. Next, we're going to go in with a setting powder. I think you could also probably use this as a foundation on its own. This is the Pro Face Matte Pressed Powder. This is in the shade Creamy Natural, and this retails for $6.99. That's what that shade looks like. It also comes with a puff underneath and a mirror. I'm going to be taking the e.l.f. Kabuki brush and using this lightly, but just from even picking it up on the brush, I'm pretty sure you can use this by itself as a powder. Yeah, for sure, definitely. So because this foundation is already pretty matte on its own, I'm going in with this pretty lightly. It does have a really nice finish to it. In the summer months, I would absolutely be interested in using this on its own. I didn't see any new blushes from LA Girl, so I'm just going to go in with one of Kiko's blushes. This is the Fall 2.0 Duo Blush in Stylish Pink. For highlight, I'm going to use the Strobe Light Strobing Powder. This retails for $7.99, and this is in the shade 50 Watt. There are a few shades, but that's what Watt looks like. Taking a fluffy powder brush by Senna Cosmetics. Definitely a strong highlight you get from this. The shimmer particles are a little less refined than I personally prefer. It's a little too... the particles of shimmer are a little too large just for my personal preference. But it does give off a pretty gorgeous flash to the skin. And this particular color is a little golden. I'm just going back in with my blush brush, not with any extra product, but to kind of blend in the highlight and the blush together. Moving on to the eyes, I bought a couple of the Eye Luxe Mesmerizing eyeshadow palettes. There's a whole set of them. These retail for $5.99 each, and it looks like there are a total of 7 different palettes that you could get, shade combinations that you could get. So I picked up Tranquilize, which is this green one, and Urbanize, which is the more neutral shades. That's what the shades in these palettes look like up close. I'm going to use the more neutral natural shades for mostly the crease, and I'll use a pop of color from the green palette. For all over the lid, I'm going to start with this matte cream shade. For the transition in the crease, I'm going to just combine the two middle brown shades there. These are in texture a little bit on the chalky side, it seems, but they blend pretty nicely. For the main part of the mobile lid, we'll go in with this green, and then on the outer V, I'll probably use the deeper green, and then this darker, slightly shimmering brown to deepen up the crease and blend all the shades together. It has pretty good color and pigmentation, and it is pretty creamy also. I'm pleasantly surprised by that color payoff on the lids there. Using a smaller crease brush to carve out this outer V and connect it to the lower lash line. A slight change of plans. I'm going to use this for the rest of the inner 2/3 of the lower lash line instead of putting it in the crease, because I realize it's not really that deep enough to put in the crease. And instead, I think I will maybe use the deepest shade from this Urbanized palette to deepen up the crease. Blending and buffing everything out. And then going back in with the bright green shade to liven up that color again after buffing and blending. And the last step's going to be to go in with this really pale goldeny shade with a small detail brush in the inner corners here. All right, for the price especially, I think these are pretty great palettes for you to use. Like I said, not the most creamy and rich in texture, but practically speaking in application, these function really, really nicely. To line the eyes, I'm going to use one of the Ultimate Eye Intense Wear Auto Eyeliners in the shade Lasting Brown. These retail for $4.99. It has a super, super small or narrow applicator. This shade of brown is actually a really bright shade of brown. It's not a deep, intense brown as I thought it was going to be. So it might not be the best to pair with this eye look, but I actually really like that it's a more vibrant shade of brown. Alright, so that's what the liner looks like applied. It has a really nice creamy formula that seems like it's going to work pretty well in terms of being long wearing. It wasn't super transfer. The formula didn't transfer super well onto the waterline, but enough to, you know, show up and make a difference. For the lashes, these are $5.99 each. I purchased 2 of them. I'm going to put one on each eye and see how they change the eye look. The one here is called Oomph Mascara. This is the Maximum Volumizing Effect Mascara. And the other is a Fiber Mascara. This is has an extending effect dimensional mascara. This is super bizarre. The volumizing one it becomes more narrow as you go down to the end of the wand, and there are hardly any bristles. Do you see that there? I'm not sure about how this is gonna work. And then for the Fiber Mascara, again, there aren't bristles all around the wand. It's on like 3 sides of the wand, sort of. It's a plastic wand, and again, the bristles are pretty short. Alright, so on this side, which is my right side, I'm going to use the Fiber Mascara. I did curl my lashes beforehand. So on one side there is a thicker band of short bristles, which I guess I'm going to use to just lay down the mascara. And then on the shorter end, I'll use it to comb through. This is applying, oof, it already transferred onto my lid. This is applying kind of clumpy and spidery, which I am not a fan of that look. I'm gonna stop because I don't want them to look even more clumpy than they already do. Alright, then on my left side I'm gonna use the Oomph Mascara. These both seem to have kind of a drier formula. So the Fiber side does have a little more length. The Oomph side does have a little more volume, but overall the effect is not really that dramatic. Really not a huge fan of these mascaras. You can get much better formulas from brands like L'Oreal or Maybelline. Alright, then we have a set of 5 new lip liner shades. These are the Ultimate Lip Intense Wear Auto Lip Liners. They retail for $4.99 each. I'm going to go ahead and swatch them all for you just so you can get an idea of the shades. Just like with the eyeliner, these have super thin tips to them, and they are twist up applicators. Wow, these apply like a dream. So we're gonna go this way down that way. I don't know if on the screen if that's left to right for you, but starting from left to right, the shades are Forever Bare, Keep It Spicy, Non-Stop Nude, Enduring Mauve, and Relentless Red. And because we have a pop of color on the lids, I'm going to keep it pretty neutral with Enduring Mauve on the lips. You guys, these are so fantastic in terms of the formula. I'm barely touching this to the skin, and it's transferring so nicely. And I have crazy dry chapped lips right now, so it's nice to not have to tug at them to get the product to transfer. All right, so there's Enduring Mauve applied as a base, really nice, rich color to this also. It's not gonna be super moisturizing, but it also doesn't feel actively drying on the lips either. All right, and last up are the Lipify Stylo lipsticks. There's a whole bunch of shades. As I mentioned in the beginning of the video, I'm gonna do a separate dedicated video just showing you all of the colors, including photos of how they apply to the lips. For the purpose of this video, I'll just apply one of them for you to show you what it looks like. And I think we'll go with the shade Teddy for this video. And that's what it looks like. These, just like the lip liners, have the most beautifully transferable formula to them. They just glide like nothing else. So easy to apply and wear. They do have a little bit of a sweet scent that I can smell when I'm applying it, which I'm not a fan of. But otherwise, this formula is beautiful. I don't think I actually like the way Teddy looks with this eye look, so I'm gonna wipe this off and actually go back in with the shade Giddy. It's a little more pink and lighter in shade. Yeah, I think this color is just gonna go with this green a little better. All right, so there's the completed look. I didn't have a brow product from LA Girl, so I just filled them in very quickly with some brow gel. In terms of what I would highly rate or purchase again, well, let's start with the things I definitely wouldn't, the mascaras. My lashes look sad. I wish I could build them up to something better. I did try to go in with a second coat and it did absolutely nothing. So definitely not going to suggest any of those mascaras from the company. I would say the next thing I probably wouldn't repurchase is that strobing highlighter, just because the shimmer particles are larger than I would prefer, but that might be a more personal preference kind of thing. It does give off a pretty intense in your face shimmer, so if that's what you're going for and that's what you want, that might be a good investment for you. Everything else pretty much I really enjoyed and I am impressed with. The matte foundation is very matte. It has good coverage. It's very affordable. It comes in a glass pump dispenser, which is really nice. The powder foundation, if you use it lightly, you can use it as a mattifying setting powder. Otherwise, it will work perfectly for a more light to medium coverage foundation on its own. The eyeshadow palettes, although not the top notch or top of the game in terms of the formula, work really well. And even the bright shades are coming off with nice pigmentation. They blend nicely. There wasn't any sort of problems with fallout. So I'm pretty impressed with those too. The eyeliner was nice and creamy, a joy to apply. Top notch for the lip liners and the lipsticks. They are just beautiful to use. So simple, so easy. They feel really, really comfortable. Oh, and I forgot the contouring highlighting. That's probably the middle of the road item. It is so affordable and cheap that it's probably worth the investment, especially if you're on a budget. But it's not the most creamy and easy to blend in terms of formula. All right, so those are my thoughts on the new LA Girl products for makeup. Let me know in the comment section below what you think, if you've tried any of these out. As always, thank you for taking the time to watch, and I'll see you in the next video.